is so very special for them and for all the people to come. It's a club you never want to be in, but you honor them, and it just means the world. Thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Can I just say something about your moment? Do you want me to go over there or here? I viewed my dad as Superman, someone my whole life you look up to. He's an amazing guy, and it's horrible that this happened to all three families. But I'm glad that something was done about it, and we got represented, and everyone in the future will be. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Be very proud of you. Thank you. Would you like to say anything? The force. Would you like to say something? It's a very tough thing to do. Would you like to say something?
Mr. President, I'm Sheriff Rick Bradshaw and every member of the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. We can't thank you enough for taking the lead on this and recognizing the extreme sacrifice of our three brothers. Words really can't express how thankful we are.
Thank you very much. And we have a fourth, and we're going to give this to you. Hopefully it's maybe never going to be given out. So we'll give it to Sheriff Bradshaw, who's an incredible sheriff. And you've done an amazing job, and we'll have it should something happen. And that's right here, okay? So
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And I hope it never has to be given out, frankly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Very much. Well, thank you. Do you have any questions for what you just saw? That's so important. I mean, people have talked about it for years. I want to thank Brian Mass for what he's done, Congressman. He's been unbelievable. He's a great representative. And he worked hard. He wanted to do it right, and we wanted to go somehow. We could get him done pretty easily in one way, but we wouldn't get him done by Tiffany. And the fact that the Arnault family stepped up was absolutely incredible. It means more when you get a name like that. It means, I think it means something extra. But these were incredible people, and they're looking down on you right now, and they're very, very proud, very, very proud of all of you. And it's too bad we had to be doing this, but I was there with you that day. That was a rough day. Thank you very much. Would you have any questions? Yeah.
Do you have plans to give this award to any other families posthumously who find themselves in the same position as having made this sacrifice, and then after the test, one question about your call to that?
Having to do from a previous? Well, the possibility of that, yeah. You had a lot of people die in the line of duty when you think of it. And we figured it was time to start. We haven't had the situation arise. This was a terrible situation. We haven't had it arise yet, but we're looking at going back a little bit and see what we can do about that. Yes, strongly. Yeah, go ahead.
On your call with President Putin today,
yeah,
you'd mentioned that the Pope would like to take a role essentially in mediating these talks. Does that mean that the U.S. is taking a step back from...
No. I think it would be great to have it at the Vatican. Maybe it would have some extra significance. And I saw that it was discussed yesterday, so I thought, and people told me that they'd be honored to do it, I would imagine. So, no, I think it would be maybe helpful. There's tremendous bitterness, anger and I think maybe that could help some of that anger. So having it at the Vatican would be, in Rome, would be I think it would be a great idea. Thank you.
Mr. President, as you know,
Go ahead.
Mr. President, as you know, 2.5 months ago, Ukraine President Zelensky agreed to that 30-day ceasefire that's been on the table all of that time. What was the extent of your conversation with President Putin today about having him agree to that same 30-day ceasefire proposal that you, Mr. President, put on the table?
Well, what we've done, and very strongly, is we said, let's get this thing going. You know, I had many of the leaders of European nations on the line with me right after the call, and we have to get that thing solved. 5,000 young people every single week on average. And I've seen satellite pictures. You don't want to see these pictures. We'll have to see what happens. This was not my war. This is not a war that would have happened if I were president. This is not my war. I'm just here to try and help. We've spent hundreds of billions of dollars on this war, and yet that's not, frankly, we made much more than that just in 4 days in the Middle East. It's a lot of money, but we do much. This is about thousands of people dying every single week. 5,000, 6,000 people dying every single week. And just like you have the relatives here, wives and children and everything, you have, these soldiers, they say goodbye in Ukraine and in Russia, and then their parents never see them again, except maybe in pictures of horrible scenes, because I've seen some scenes, I've never seen anything like it. So we're going to see if we can take it care of. Yeah, please.
First off, our thanks to the members of law enforcement who are here, and our condolences to the families. We're very sorry for your loss. Mr. President, on Ukraine and on your call today that you had with President Putin, you said last week nothing was going to happen, no advances would be made until you and Putin got together. Do you still feel that way?
I think something's going to happen. It's a got very big egos involved, I tell you. Big egos involved. But I think something's going to happen. And if it doesn't, I'd just back away, and they're going to have to keep going. Again, this was a European situation. It should have remained a European situation. Should have remained. But we have, because the administration felt very strongly that we should be involved, and we got involved much more than Europe did in terms of the money and all of the things that we gave. We gave massive amounts, I think record-setting amounts given to a foreign. There's never been anything like this, both weaponry and Europe gave a lot also, but they didn't give anywhere near what we gave. We gave probably almost 3 times the amount, and it's just a shame. The whole thing is a shame.
Did you ask
the death is just a shame. Yeah.
Did you ask President Putin to meet with you?
About what?
About Ukraine.
Of course I did. I talked to him about it. I said, when are we going to end this, Vladimir? I've known him for a long time now. I said, when are we going to end this bloodshed, this bloodbath? It's a bloodbath. And I do believe he wants to end it. You know, when I made the call, I told the people last night, I spoke to the heads of the different countries, Germany and Finland. We had Italy, as you know, and UK was on the line today, and a couple of others, and then they were in turn calling everyone. Ursula was there from the European Union. She was terrific, and we spoke for time about it, and they got a problem. It's a big, big problem. It's a terrible war. It's a very hard to extradite themselves away from what's taken place over there. The amount of anger, the amount of hate, and the amount of death. It's very hard, very tough situation. But I said to him, we got to get going. And I did say also, if I thought that you couldn't do it, I'd step away, because what are you going to do? We don't have boots on the ground. We wouldn't have boots on the ground. But we do have a big stake, and the financial amount that was put up is just crazy. It's crazy. This is for somebody else. The amount of money that we put up is record-setting. There's never been anything like this, and that includes weapons. Never been anything like this. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, on the medal, how far back do you intend to look to consider for the recipients?
on your call today, if Putin ultimately proves to be the obstacle to peace, is further arming Ukraine on the table at that point?
Well, we'll look. I mean, we're going to look. I hope that, I like to think positively, frankly. I just can't allow this to continue. This would have never happened if I were president, and most people admit that. It would have, and it didn't happen for 4 years. And October 7th would have never happened either. That's the attack on Israel. That would have never happened. So sad, a lot of things wouldn't have happened, but so sad to see it. Now, I think that there's a good chance we can get this done. I believe Putin wants to do it. Now, if I thought Putin didn't want, I mean, that's what I do. My whole life is like deals, one big. And if I thought that President Putin did not want to get this over with, I wouldn't even be talking about it, because I'd just pull out.
What did you hear that gave you confidence that he does want peace versus buying time?
I think he's had enough. I think he's had enough. This has been a long time. This has been going on for more than 3 years. When you think, right? It's been going on for a long time. Yeah, please.
So, thank you, Mr. President. When you implored him to stop previously, Vladimir stopped on social media, and he didn't. He just continued. I'm curious, did you bring that up with him in your phone call today?
You have to talk.
Sorry. You previously on Truth Social implored President Putin to stop. You wrote Vladimir stop, and he didn't stop. Quite the contrary. I'm curious, did you bring that up on your call with him today?
No, I didn't bring that up. But I did say, it's time, you got to stop this thing. And I believe he wants to stop. Look, I think very able to tell whether or not he wanted to or what. I thought there was a very good chance, like a 50-50 chance, that he would say, I want to take the whole thing. I didn't know what he was going to say. And then they have a different kind of a problem. But I believe he wants to stop. Sure.
Just now about backing away or walking away if it looks like it's going to be an intractable problem. Do you have a red line in your head of what would cause you to back away? And
yeah, in my head, but not something I'm going to announce. But yeah, definitely in my head I do.
What
yeah.
exactly would that look
Because
like?
this isn't our war. This is not my war. This is not the war. I mean, we got ourselves entangled in something that we shouldn't have been involved in. And we would have been a lot better off, and maybe the whole thing would have been better off, because it can't be much worse. It's a real mess. It's a death trap. So I think that, yeah, I would say I do have a certain line, but I don't want to say what that line is, because I think it makes the negotiation even more difficult than it is. Yes, please.
Mr. President, thank you all for your sacrifice. I'm so sorry for your loss and everybody. You mentioned the bloodbath you want to see end in Ukraine. You mentioned that you believe Putin wants peace, but he just attacked Ukraine yesterday. So what makes he wants peace?
Well, he's in a war, you know. I mean, nobody said don't. They're fighting. They're attacking each other, and people are dying all the time. He's in a war. He's fighting a war. Nobody said he was going to stop. I think, is it terrible? Yeah, it's terrible. I think it's terrible.
Can you wait on President Biden? President Biden was diagnosed with cancer of the war, and then I want to ask you about reconciliation. Why haven't you increased the sanctions on Russia yet?
Well, because I think there's a chance of getting something done, and if you do that, you can also make it much worse. But there could be a time when that's going to happen. Yep.
Mr. President,
President Biden,
Who was going to say?
with the ratings downgrade from...
Do you want to respond to President Biden being diagnosed with cancer? Are you going to call your predecessor?
I think it's very sad, actually. I'm surprised that it wasn't, you know, the public wasn't notified a long time ago, because to get to stage 9, that's a long time. I just had my physical. You saw that. You saw the results of that particular test. I think that test is standard to pretty much anybody getting a physical, good physical. We had the doctors at the White House and over at Walter Reed, which is a fantastic hospital. I do it. I did a very complete physical, including cognitive tests. I'm proud to announce I aced it. Got them all. I got them all right. You proud of me? Yes. Your husband would be proud of me for getting them all right. It's a little risk. If I didn't get them all right, these people would be after me. It would be not a good situation. But I think, frankly, anybody running for president should take a cognitive test. They say it's unconstitutional, but I would say in that particular case, having a cognitive test wouldn't be so bad. But when you take tests, medical, as a male, that test is very standard. I don't know if it's given to everybody, but it's given just about. And it takes a long time to get to that situation. Now, I think, to get to a stage 9, I think that if you take a look, it's the same doctor that said that Joe was cognitively fine. There was nothing wrong with him. Well, he said, if it's the same doctor, he said there was nothing wrong there, and that's being proven to be a sad situation. And the auto pen is becoming a very big deal. The auto pen is becoming a big deal because it seems like that maybe was the president who ever operated the auto pen. But when they say that that was not good, they also, you have to look and you have to say that the test was not so good either. In other words, there are things going on that the public wasn't informed, and I think somebody's going to have to speak to his doctor, if it's the same, or even if it's 2 separate doctors. Why wasn't the cognitive ability, why wasn't that discussed? And I think the doctor said he's just fine, and it's turned out that's not so. It's very dangerous. Look, this is no longer politically correct. This is dangerous for our country. Look at the mess we're in. You're talking about all these questions on Ukraine and Russia that would have never happened. As an example, if I were president, would have never happened. The other thing is you have to say, why did it take so long? I mean, this takes a long time. It can take years to get to this level of danger. So it's a very, very sad situation, and I feel very badly about it. And I think people should try and find out what happened, because I'll tell you, I don't know if it had anything to do with the hospital. Walter Reed is really good. They're some of the best doctors I've ever seen. I don't even know if they were involved, but a doctor was involved in each case. Maybe it was the same doctor, and somebody is not telling the facts. That's a big problem.
President Zelensky of Ukraine says that the Ukrainians are ready for a ceasefire, they're ready for peace negotiations. In your mind, is Ukraine doing enough to get this peace?
I'd rather tell you in about 2 weeks from now, because I can't say yes or no. I think, look, he's a strong person. Zelensky is a strong guy, and he's not the easiest person to deal with. But I think that he wants to stop. He's, not. It's a very bad thing that's happening over there. I think he wants to stop. But I could answer that question better in 2 weeks or 4 weeks from now. I hope the answer is that he wants to get it solved. I want to thank everybody very much, and on behalf of the United States of America, we greatly honor your family and your friends and everybody that had to suffer so much. But you have some 3 great men down on you, and they're very proud right now. They're very proud. This is the Oval Office, and they're a big part of it now. They're a part of the Oval Office, the White House. And thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you, Sheriff Cummings. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Head right out this way. Just come forward. Let's go, guys. Thank you. Mr. President, you guys. Let's head this way. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Let's head out. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Let's go around these doors.
Good.